Danish Mustafa. We're very happy to have him here. Danish Mustafa obtained his BA in Geography from Middlebury College, Vermont, and Masters in University of Hawaii. Hello, sorry. So Mr. Danish Mustafa obtained his BA in Geography from Middlebury College in USA in 1991, and MA from University of Hawaii, and a PhD from University of Colorado. Dr. Danish is the reader at the Department of Geography, King's College, London. His research interests have been at the intersection of water resources, hazards, and development geography. He also maintains an interest in researching geographies of violence and terror, particularly in Pakistan from a social theoretical perspective. Dr. Danish was the co-author of the first climate change response strategies for Pakistan, in addition to being the lead author of the UNDP Pakistan 5-year flood response strategy. In addition, he has also undertaking policy-related work with the Department of International Development, International Organization for Migration, Eastern Sun Center, and United States Institute of Peace. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, you want to do that? Sure.
This is working as well.
Is this working? Oh.
Oh, please, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So very good. Okay, thank you so much for inviting me over here. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm an academic and typically used to talking in classes, and I find it virtually impossible to sit still when I'm talking, so it's call it nervous energy or intimidation, whatever, but this is what I do. So I'm going to be walking around a little bit, and my voice gets a little loud because typically I have to shout to keep people from sleeping, because students tend to sleep, so apologies for that if I do that. Okay, I was of two minds when I came over here. The first, I wasn't quite sure how much time I had, and if I was going to talk for about 10 minutes, whether I should have a PowerPoint presentation or not. But then it was decided that maybe I should have a PowerPoint presentation because pictures are nice, they're good for presentation, people like it. So I thought I'd put up a presentation which might anchor the kind of comments that I'm going to make over here. So there was this work. I had never done any work in Sindh before 2015. Before 2015, I'd only been to Karachi 3 or 4 times, and that too from airport to defense and back to the airport within a span of 2 days, and then just left. And 2015 was the time that I spent some extensive amount of time looking at, going to practically most districts of Sindh and learning about water issues over there. And this was on a project for a water and subnational scale water conflict. So mercifully, I'm very pleased to see that Hassan Abbas is here, a friend, and so I'll spare you all the boring details, the technical details, because not that it's boring, I think they're very interesting, but I think Hassan will do more than an adequate job of covering those. I'll talk more about the politics of it. I'd say that Indus Basin is a production, it's a creation, it's a state of mind, I would argue. It's a place, but it's also a state of mind. And I think it is co-produced in certain ways where these terms like Ghaddar, Samraj, and those of us from the old Marxist times probably remember. I think many of the millennials don't even know what Samraj means. But it used to be a very standard vocabulary back when. And environment, development, state, province, identity. These are the sorts of terms वो कहते हैं ना मसाले जो पड़ते हैं एक देग के अंदर इंडस को बनाने के लिए, तो ये उन सब मसालों का एक हिस्सा है. So I'll start off with a couple of quotes over here. The first quote was made to me by the President Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Lahore Chamber of Commerce. And he said, those of you who can read Roman Urdu can read it, I'll translate. He says, everyone who says who's against the Kala Bagh Dam is a traitor, is a traitor, is a traitor, and that's what I say. Those were his words. And there were like 5, 6 Sindhis amongst us in our delegation, just taken aback at that sort of gumption to insult your own guests who were standing over there. And the second one was when I was talking to a few farmers in Sindh, this one man in a very lilting, beautiful Sindhi accent said to me that, you know, these people are crazy. They talk about, he didn't say they're crazy, Baba, they're talking about Kala Bagh Dam. There's a Kala Bagh Dam on every canal here in Sindh. Two different realities, if you will, of water in Pakistan. Now, what is Indus? Go to WAPDA, go to the irrigation department Sindh, go to irrigation department Punjab, go anywhere. This is Indus Basin. It's straight lines. It's like a plumbing system. It's like a plumbing system you have in your home. You open the tap, you close the tap, the Sindh behaves exactly the way. The world according to hydrology is a fantastic world. And one, at times in moments of despair, one wishes that that world actually worked. Where everything was connected to everything else in very tidy manner, everything was known, everything was counted, and so on. Except that the reality is that Indus is a complex ecosystem, it's definitely not a straight line. I think the crux of the problem is not so much Sindh, Punjab, or what have you. It is the engineering profession. It is the technocratic mindset that reduces the complex, multifaceted, variegated reality of a place the size of Indus into this. And if that's not shocking enough, take a look at this one. 144 million acre feet of water come in, 106 million acre feet of water are diverted, this much water works it over there, that much water goes over there, millions of cubic meters of water, million acre feet of water. What do millions of acre feet of water mean to you? What does it mean to the Indus? What does it mean to an individual? But the currency of talking about water in the water sector all across the world, not just Pakistan, but certainly in Pakistan, is these abstractions. I recently wrote an article that if Pakistan was not such a sexist society, and it is a deeply sexist society, and water sector was not even more uber sexist than the sexist society within which it is based, the conversation around water in Pakistan would be very different than what it is. Because you see, guys like to talk about big things. Guys like to talk about dams, millions of acre feet of water. Whereas a feminine concern with water is about water and sanitation. What is Bhasha Dam going to do for water and sanitation in Karachi? Or Hyderabad? Or Islamabad? Let alone any of those. But let's talk about Islamabad, Lahore. And the answer is absolutely nothing. It's a question of life and death. And you are saying, well, then that's the only relevant thing that should be discussed. But no, the reality has to be predicated upon these abstractions. Here's another one. Those of you who cannot read Urdu, this was a sign that I took a photograph of on the Mall Road in Lahore. It says we need to launch, this is the Chief of Staff of the Pakistan Army and certain other generals, and there needs to be a Zarb-e-Azb, which was launched against the Taliban by the military. And the plea over here is that we need to have a Zarb-e-Azb, a military operation for the building of dams. India has been conducting an offensive, a hydro offensive against Pakistan, and we need to have a military response. We demand that Kalabagh Dam be built. Oh, why are they demanding it? Take a look at this quote. I'm not going to read it, I assume everyone can read it. I was invited by the Pakistan Institute of International Studies to give them a speech. It was horribly boring, sort of a seminar. And I meant to insult them, and everyone shook their heads in approval. I said, what is your imagination about Pakistan? What do you want from Pakistan? And I tell you, you want the industry and institutions of America, you want the economy of China, and the culture of Saudi Arabia. For a country of 6,000, 7,000-year-old civilization, is this all? Is this all that you can imagine? And this quote right here tells you precisely why we make the Indus into the kind of a tap, precisely why we want to talk about million acre feet, precisely why we try to make up for some sort of a shortage somewhere else for building high dams, because this is who we want to be. The data speaks for itself. हमने अमेरिका बनना बड़े हो गए, शर्म नहीं आती. Okay, and then when the British did the bandobast, the land settlement, there's a certain story at the very basic level where this is the reality that the state sees. Honestly, the state, this is Barbegi and that is Chuck, I think it says, I think there's a 13 lot, I'm sorry, in the Khana Union Council. And there's the same sort of a story in your talukas, in all the villages in Sindh. The vision of the state about your life spaces or the documentary that you saw, to the state, if it does not exist in this form, it doesn't exist. So what? Kaun sa revenue circle hai? Which patwar circle is there? How many hectares over there? What is the revenue coming from there? And if it doesn't fit into that frame, it doesn't exist. The chairman of Indus River System Authority is a Sindhi chief engineer. And he was very kind to give me an interview, and we had a wee bit of a chat. There is almost become an obsession with dams in Pakistan. I almost never talk about dams in Pakistan because I often say it is no longer a question about logic, reasoning. I mean, Hassan Abbas is very brave to do it because I gave up talking about it about 10, 15 years ago because I thought it is now a religious issue. It is like discussing questions of maslak and belief because logic has left the shores. But I suppose I'm very happy that Hassan is talking about it, so I thought, may not hurt to start talking about it again. And the irrationality of it is absolutely stupefying, the conversation around it. And part of the reason why I didn't talk about it, to be honest with you, because I don't think that anyone in this room has to worry about a large dam at all. Because it's not going to be built. It cannot be built. There is not enough water in there. There is not enough financing in there. No one in the world is going to finance it. They are not going to finance it. Meanwhile, you think that the engineers, or many of them, are that stupid that they want to build a 933-foot high dam, highest dam in the world, in the most silt-rich river in the world, in the most seismically active zone in the world. You have to be out of your bloody mind. And they say, oh gee, but there are dams in California. Yes, they tend to be below 100 feet. They don't build 900-foot high dams there. Oh gee, Tarbela is on near a fault line. Of course, it is a rock and earth-filled dam. It is not a concrete dam. Completely different. So there's a wee bit of a cave over there. You guys don't know that? Of course they know that. Wagda knows it. And they've known it for 20 years. But, oh, so delicious to have some contracts. The biggest thing I'd like to submit to you, and I'm going to stop because this was an impromptu thing that I'm submitting to you. The biggest enemy of the water sector in Pakistan is the notion of average. I had to teach this course in average in statistics, and a penny kind of dropped to me. I'd taken quantity-based statistics. I don't know it that well to teach it, but I have to teach it anyway. That average is a predictive model of the data. When you're talking about a river system like Indus, averages don't make sense at all. At all. Talk to anyone in rural Sindh and ask them how much average production do you get? They'll have no idea. They'll say, this is the best that I have gotten, this is the worst that I have gotten. And they'll always think, what if the worst happens? What is it that I have to do to be still standing? Whereas the modern paradigm, which I would impeach all of us in there of believing in, is if the average conditions continue into perpetuity, what is it that I have to do to get better? Now the tragedy of it is, Sindhi water administrators, water managers, speak the same language as the Punjabi, as the Indian, as the American, which is predicated upon averages, which make no sense at all. So what does Punjab do? Over the past 10 years, at Kotri, the flow is 5 million acre feet, 2 million acre feet, 6 million acre feet, 3 million acre feet, 0 acre feet, 6 acre feet, and then one flat year, there is 90 million acre feet. So they average it all up and say, see, 35 million acre feet is going into the sea. And the Sindhis They shake their heads, oh yes, 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 but we need it for the delta. I've literally yelled at chief engineers of Sindh Irrigation Department, why do you have to be so mentally lobotomized to buy into that average number? Why don't you say, look at these numbers right here. You can't just say, oh, today I'll give you 0% oxygen, tomorrow you can have 3%, and someday I'll give you 70, and the other day I'll give you 15. It'll all average out to 21%. Come on. And then within Sindh, about the dams. There's a conflict between, all Sindhis are not equal. Everyone knows that, right? Sindh irrigation is probably one of the most mismanaged irrigation departments in the country. It's the only irrigated area where there are actually the chief minister sanctions direct diversion from the main stem canals. It is the only irrigation department where the STO, irrigation, is not a magistrate third class and cannot prosecute water theft. And it is also one of those provinces which has a substantial population of fisher communities. And what has happened to the fisher communities? Sindh Irrigation Department, compliments of them, right bank outfall drain, completely poisoned the entire Manchar Lake, destroyed the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of people. These are women picking up drinking water in Manchar Lake area. This is the home constituency of our Chief Minister, Murad Ali Shah. By the way, the roads are very nice though. To get to this place, the road is superb, but there's no water. Okay. There are many, many other issues. I'll just finish with this, the conclusion. What is the Indus? To the state, it is a giant plumbing system. It's something, it's no straight lines. To be exploited for development. What is development? Development for our state is mass production, mass consumption. If we can replicate the mass production, mass consumption lifestyle of the West or China with the piety of the Saudis, presumably we would have become developed, and this is a pathway. Unless you question that fundamental logic, what you're seeing over here, as I said, someone said about independence or whatever, Rabindranath Tagore used to say, the biggest curse in the world is the nation state. It's an ideology of difference. Keep drawing lines. Keep drawing lines ad infinitum, you will never come to an end. But if the fundamental logic is of mass production, mass consumption, that's what it is. And then there are other things.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. Thank you, wonderful, very thought-provoking, I really enjoyed thoroughly. It combined the politics, the misunderstandings, and the power of numbers, and understanding things in a technical as well as political aspects of water conflict in the Indus region and Pakistan. I'm really enjoyed it. So our next speaker is